Hi, everybody, and welcome to AITA Pod. I'm Shannon D, and today I am joined by the people I love the most in the world and the people who annoy me the most in the world, my parents.
That's us.
Welcome, Charla and Bill.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Great to be here.
Danny has had the COVID. He actually just texted me that he finally tested negative today, which is great, but he has been under the weather. We were all supposed to do this, but now it's just the three of us. They're visiting me because they are moving. They just moved. They went to Cabo for a week, and now they're on their vagabond adventures. In the winter, they are going to be little vagabonds. We got a little bit more into that on the bonus episode.
So just briefly, we have a house in Wildwood, New Jersey, where we rent out apartments, and we have a parking lot right off of the beach and the boardwalk. I teach yoga on the beach in Wildwood in the summertime. Mm-hmm. So we've got a place in the summer, and we just weren't spending enough time in our house.
And they just bought that house out from her sisters, which I think you guys probably heard me talk about last year. Like at one point, I was like totally depressed because I thought we were selling it. It was a whole thing, but now we are keeping it, and it's just the two of them that are going to be running it now, my mom and my dad. And then in the winter, they sold their house that was closer to here, and they're just going to travel around.
Yeah, we just weren't spending enough time in that house, so to just have that second house wasn't of value.
Yeah.
And so we're going to travel. We're going to rent places, visit.
Sorry, we have the dog here too, and he is moving around.
He's getting settled. So thanks for having us.
Of course.
Love listening to the pod. So now to be a part of it. I always want to interject and have the conversation.
Well, now we can.
What I do when I listen to the pod is I text Shannon all of my input and all of my thoughts. Mm-hmm. So here I am to give them to you.
Yeah. So she's always late in the thoughts. It's always after the fact.
Oh, yeah.
All right. I always want to join in the conversation. I'm sure you all feel that way too.
Exactly. Well, we've got a little AITA between these two, and we are going to take you on a little adventure back to their first date.
All right. So
my mom will share her perspective first.
Okay. So we met. I was a waitress. We lived in Denver, and I waited on Bill. And their
families lived like what, an hour from each other in New Jersey, like 45 minutes. But they met in Denver.
Yeah. So no, this is my chance.
No. In actuality, our brothers and sisters lived only 2 blocks from each other in Sausalito, California.
Right.
Oh, yeah. In San Francisco.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway,
lots of
we had a lot in common when we met, and he was cute. And
still am.
He still is.
That's right.
Yes,
Watch us on YouTube and you can see for yourself.
Anyway, so we got talking afterwards, and we exchanged numbers.
Did you mention it was his birthday?
Oh, it was his birthday.
Yeah.
Yep.
And my mom got called in to work that day, and she was so pissed. And she ended up meeting her husband. So anytime my sister and I would get called into work when we were waitresses, she'd always be like, well, you never know. You might meet the love of your life.
You never know who you're going to meet. Anyway, Bill called me and asked me for a date. So he lived in Boulder, which is about 45 minutes from Denver. And he was house sitting for friends that lived right near me. But we didn't know. Now, this is 1983. So, we don't have GPS. And he didn't really know where my house was, and I didn't know where this house was. So we decided that we would meet at the supermarket and then take off from there. So we were on our date, and we were on our way back.
Where'd you guys go? Was it like a Bette Midler concert or something?
Oh, well, we were going to pick up tickets to the Bette Midler concert, which was the following week. Oh. And then we went to a place called Ichabod's that does not exist anymore.
A restaurant?
Mm-hmm. We went to Ichabod's and had something to eat. And, there was some banter, some
Didn't you say though,
arguing.
If you said black, he would say white?
Yeah,
you were constantly, you were never on, you weren't on the same page.
Can't figure out why we're still together.
I know. All right. So, it was kind of like, okay, where's this date going? Am I allowed to tell the part where you first picked me up?
No.
Okay. All right. Well, now I got to tell it.
No, please.
No, he doesn't want.
Okay.
We don't need that. Go there.
That was really cute.
No,
Listen, I didn't get out of the car, so
shut up and just tell a story.
okay. Can I tell the part?
No.
Oh, now they're all going to wonder what it is. I got to tell you, it's really cute. I don't know how or why, but we're driving down the road and he launches into the Cowardly Lion, if I were the king of the forest. And he went through the whole thing.
King, not
The
duke
whole
or
thing.
not queen.
And I'm sitting there thinking, oh my God, I'm dead. I am dead. I will be chopped into a million pieces by the end of the night and
The
in the bottom
entire
of the
song.
Cherry Creek Reservoir. What crazy man am I in the car with?
Here,
He was nervous.
My problem is that anytime I hear something that triggers a memory, I'll do that memory.
He knows
was
every quote to like every
nervous.
movie, every TV show.
But I came out alive. Okay, so now we go back to the friend's house that he's house sitting. He's dog sitting. And he runs right into the house and disappears. So I sit down and I'm sitting there and a few minutes go by. I don't know where he's gone. He didn't say a word. He just disappeared. So now 10 minutes go by. Now I'm starting to get like, what is going on? Is he like trying to ditch me? He's just going to stay somewhere in the house and not come out? Is he just waiting for me to leave? What's going on? I don't understand. And so now at first I'm worried. Now 15 minutes goes by and now I'm starting to get pissed. And again, I don't really know where I am in relation to my house. Little did I know I was literally 2 blocks away. I could have just
From your house?
from my house. I
Oh
could have
my
walked
God.
home. But
Yeah.
again, I didn't know. I didn't know how close I was. So now it's 20 minutes and I am fuming.
Oh my
fuming.
God.
My arms are crossed. I've got a really pissed off look. My foot is bouncing. Right. I'm mad. And then suddenly he comes out of the room. I don't even know what room he's been in, but he comes out of the room. My arms are crossed and I go, where have you been?
All right, now let's hear Dad's side of the story.
Okay. We went on this date that was, I don't know, not going well, I'll say, at this point. We stopped back at the house because that's actually where I knew best anyway. So then I just wanted to make sure we checked on things. The second I walked into the house, and I mean the second I stepped foot into that house, I had an attack and I had to run straight to the bathroom. Now, it's hard to tell somebody to turn and stop to tell somebody, I'm sorry, I'm going to go have diarrhea right now. And I need to step away for a few minutes. It hit me that quickly.
20 minutes.
Well, first of all, when you're having diarrhea, you think you're finally done with it, and you keep getting up and you're sitting back down. And you get up and you're sitting back down. You're getting up and you're sitting back down. This is going on.
He could have yelled out.
Well, no. I was so embarrassed as it
date,
was. I was mortified, and I'm like, holy God, I just couldn't do anything. And well, that's not true. I did a lot.
A lot of damage.
But anyway, so finally it's over with. I'm a sweat. Sweat's just pouring down from me at this point. So
Was this at Ichabod's? What'd you eat?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Well, actually, it's funny because
The food.
I had earlier during the week. Now, maybe several days earlier, I had stomach issue and had diarrhea, but that was earlier in the week, and that was over with. At least I thought it was, and then all of a sudden I'm having this attack, and
Poop attack.
yep, yeah, PA. So anyway, I come out, and she's got her arms folded, legs crossed, and she's, obviously pissed off at me, and I take one look at her. What else could I say? I'm sorry, I had diarrhea, and I didn't know what else to do. And I didn't even have time to even tell you. And immediately she went from being really, really pissed off at me into just kind of relaxed. And she went, oh, I just couldn't figure out what was going on. And I was like, I apologized. I didn't know what else to say. What are you going to do?
Poor Poppy.
All right. Now, good thing it was 1983, because if it was 2023, I would have GPSed where my house was. Well, I would have already probably known anyway.
Yeah.
And I would have walked home.
Or
I would have called an Uber to get myself
And I would not be here today, folks.
No, but the thing is, even if it was that time, I would have at least text her that I was having issues, and that I would have been apologizing. He goes, "Give me a few minutes before I come on." So come on, you have to admit that's what would have happened.
Yeah,
it wouldn't have been that she would have GPS and left. I would have told her that, "Hey, I'm having diarrhea."
Unless you didn't have your phone on you, you threw it in the commotion.
That would have sucked too, because I leave my phone in the car all the time, so that would have been even worse.
Well, also, what did you guys do back in the day when you had like poop attacks where it was like 20 minutes, you guys just sat there and didn't do anything? Like now we have our phones. We can watch TikToks, we can watch Instagram. You just sat there.
Well, a lot of times there's a magazine rack in the bathroom. There were magazine racks.
Right.
We read books.
Were you reading, Dad, or?
Yeah, there was a Playboy in there. No, no idea. I honestly, I don't remember that part of it. I have no recollection.
And the rest is history.
Well, you're here, I guess. So.
Yeah. Well, then the next day, though, I heard that you accidentally let out a little toot.
So then the next day, because the rest of the date went pretty well. So the next day.
If you know what I mean.
Why? Why? I mean, I would have been running. Okay, I'm out of here.
You must have been really cute, Dad.
It was, and I kissed him for the first time, and there were literally fireworks.
So cute.
There really was.
That
was good.
Yeah, we hadn't kissed up till that point.
An explosion, but not from a different
kind of explosion. And then, anyway, the next day he farted right in front of me. And I looked at him and I said, "Did you just fart?" And he said, "Yeah." And I went, "Oh, okay." And that was it. We've been farting in front of each other ever since.
well, hey, get the stuff that's out. Look at
We got all that stuff out of the way right from the beginning.
Right from the start.
Okay, then 6 months later, I'll just tell you this real quick. 6 months later, we went on a camping trip to Australia, New Zealand. We were in New Zealand for a month and Australia for 3 months on bicycles and in a pup tent, and one that you couldn't even stand up in. So if you can live with somebody in a tent for several months, you can live with them for the rest of your life.
Yeah, it was a make it or break it. Yeah, so
it was.
Yeah,
and clearly we made it.
Little cuties. You see what I have to live up to over here? The cutest little couple. The cumbersome couple, as we call them. They're like the same height, same body type.
Oh yeah, that's weird.
My mom's trying to scoot down to be smaller.
To look more like your spouse. Well,
I know.
Yeah.
Starting to look alike.
Well, I would say NAH, no assholes here.
No.
Well,
there was an asshole in this situation, but all right. Well, we do have a situation here that is kind of similar to the end there. It has something to do with that. AITA for refusing to fart on the toilet. My boyfriend and I have been together for a few years now, and to this day, we disagree on farting etiquette. He feels that I should always go to the toilet and fart, and I think this is an unreasonable request. I always felt that it was normal to fart in the privacy of your own home. It's not like I do so in front of company or in public or in front of his family, etc. But if we're at home and I need to rip one, I just let it go. He hates this and insists that I go to the toilet and do that. Am I the asshole?
Well, not in our book. Clearly.
Yeah, clearly. I think I've mentioned we have a lot of gas in our family, hence why I got sent that I heart to fart shirt. And we still have not found the culprit, folks.
Oh, that's funny. Huh.
It is.
I don't know that story. Did someone send you a shirt?
Yeah, someone sent me an I heart to fart shirt, and nobody has come clean.
No.
It is the strangest thing. Oh, is it you, Dad?
Well, if it was me, I would have come clean.
Yeah.
That's the strangest part of it all.
And he would have sent me one too. Okay, so here's the thing. When you're at home, you need to be able to just be comfortable in your own home.
Yeah.
And if you had to run to the bathroom each time,
Each time.
I mean, I don't know that I don't spend my day farting, but
Oh, I would spend the day in the bathroom.
You'd be there all day.
Oh, come on. Jesus. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, I never understood that. Like, some people still to this day don't like fart in front of their
my sister
spouses.
said she and her husband. I think they do now. They've been married for 30 some years. I think they're allowed to now, but
I
she
totally
didn't for a
understand
long
the
time.
not pooping in front of your partner. Like, Max and I don't really do that. It's more of like his thing. He doesn't really want to do that. But also, if I'm like
And I agree with Max.
if I'm in the toilet and I'm like having a hard time, like, I don't want anyone around either. If it's like a quick one and it just looks like you're peeing basically, then whatever.
Right.
But I think for men, it's also different because like with us, we're already sitting on the toilet. So sometimes you can't tell if we are or not, if we're just peeing. But with you guys, it's kind of like a whole other thing. And I don't know. You guys are weird with your pooping. Boys are weirder with it, aren't they? They need their wipies and stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
I need my privacy when it comes to pooping. I'm sorry. I do.
So I understand that. But farting is just like it just like happens like in life. Like a lot of times you can't help it. And if you do hold it in, it hurts.
Yeah, I mean, asking somebody to go to the bathroom just to fart, I think is
Every time.
every time that's a little much.
I fart in front of other people too, so I don't even care.
Loud ones?
Sometimes.
If it happens.
I don't mean to, but it happens.
Well, okay, so I'm a yoga teacher, so let's talk about farting. First of all, my very first yoga class ever, the man next to me spent the entire class farting.
Oh my God. You still went back.
Well, I was just giggling. It was kind of fun.
Yeah.
It was
kind of
fun.
fun.
It was just kind of fun because I'd never like been in public like that where somebody was just letting them rip like that.
Yeah, that's interesting.
But so now as a teacher, first of all, we have a wind removing pose, right?
that's
I mean,
what it's
literally,
called.
that's what it's called, wind removing pose. And we're moving air, we're moving energy. And so farts happen a lot in yoga classes.
Mm-hmm.
And usually, like, I don't even
Bat an eye.
don't even bat an eyelash to farts in yoga classes. What about burping? I mean, how's this guy feel about burping? Because burping is just an upward fart.
Yeah, he doesn't say.
I mean, where do you go for a burp?
I guess like burping
kitchen?
the smell doesn't linger as much. Like if you're like right in someone's area and they burp, it's like, oh God. But if it doesn't linger the same way
Right.
farts do. And like it's also coming out of your butt. Like it just makes it grosser.
Yeah, but a burp is like coming out of your belly. So it's kind of like, it's like air puke.
Yeah. Air puke.
This is going to be a new word.
I just air puked, y'all.
In the podcast world, a new word. Air puke.
Air puke. All right, we've got
kind
it.
of is?
It is. We got a comment here. Zero Mano says NTA, but I fart on the toilet too. Not taught by my family, but I really think farts are fucking gross. It's like loud chewing for others. Only farts smell. It honestly angers me so much when people do it around me. The only difference is that I don't force anything on others. I know it's unfair, but I tell them once, and if nothing changes, I break up. Not in their homes, but on one I live in. I want peace.
Oh,
You can't have farting in your own home.
wow. Yeah. Well, that wouldn't last.
It would not last at all for me. My stomach would hurt so bad.
When I was young, first dating girls or whatever, high school, I wouldn't fart in front of them.
Yeah. No, not in high school. No.
No, but I can even
Not in college either, I
I can
don't
remember
think.
a girlfriend of mine even telling me a story about how a guy would go out on a date and they'd be parking and then he'd get out of the car to fart. And I was like, oh my God, that's gross. And of course, then I realized I'm holding my farts in for like hours on end.
Yeah.
Because of the fact that I can't fart in front of this girl.
No, I
Yeah,
totally
gross.
understand like in high school, not wanting to do it in college, like I don't know, when you're younger, but when you become in like a long-term relationship with somebody, you kind of have to get comfortable at some point.
Yeah,
Like I
agreed.
think it's unrealistic because they slip out sometimes.
Right.
Like you really can't even help it.
Yeah.
So I think it's unreasonable. Look, when Max and I, if they're like particularly bad smelling, we will like leave the room because I don't want him smelling that anyway. Like if
Yeah.
it's not smelling good, like I don't want to be around him. But if they're just like,
Little toots of air.
little toots, and he doesn't even know,
Oh, yeah.
or they're loud and not, and like whatever. I don't know. I think this is a little rigid to be like, you constantly have to go to the bathroom in your own home. Like, you just have to get comfortable at some point.
Yeah.
I understand if you're farting right on their face.
I think that could be a deal breaker in a relationship. Definitely. I mean, you have to be comfortable. So when you were little,
oh, great. Here we go.
No. And this doesn't have anything to do with farting. I always wanted to make our home comfortable for you. Because it's your safe space.
Aww.
It's your safe haven. And so maybe, your behavior is different in your home than it is when you go outside, out into the world. And I remember people saying like, oh, Shannon was such a pleasure to have at our house. We really enjoyed having her. And
you guys would be like, really?
But I thought to myself, I can send her out into the world and she's well behaved and she can just let her hair down and be herself. You have to have that place.
Yeah.
And if it's not your home, where is it?
Yeah. I can see it being a deal breaker the other way around too, unfortunately, though.
Yeah.
If it's just something that you don't want, like if you're not on this, you know what? You have to be on the same page about farting if your relationship's going to work.
Yeah.
I'm saying it here, folks.
Yes.
Well, there's
Air puking too.
And air puking.
and so actually there's three things. It's what? Religion, right?
Politics,
and
farts.
and I'm going to tell you, I have a little story that I do every single time. When I fly, I actually try and put myself next to the bathroom.
Oh, so you can blame it?
Yes. I'm always sitting. I don't give a shit. That's right there. Well, people get upset. He goes, "Well, why do you want to sit next to the toilet? Why do I want to sit next to the toilet? Let me think."
To cover up my own stench, honey.
That's the truth.
You're insane.
And it is a fact. It is a fact. You know how the stuff comes out of tubes very easily after you've been flying. Well, think what happens to your intestines because they're just tubes. So they expand. And any flight attendant will tell you that there's farting going on like crazy on airplanes because of that.
Yeah. All right. Let's move the hell on over this. I think we say NTA.
We say NTA.
But I think others might disagree. But that's where our stance is. And we're sticking to it, folks.
That's right.
All right. Let's get into it. AITA for telling my daughter that just like she prefers her dad, I prefer her brother. My daughter, 15F, loves cooking as good as she can. Wait, no, I fucked up. Not cooking, looking. My daughter, 15F, loves looking as good as she can. She spends more time and money on clothes, shoes, skincare, makeup, jewelry, accessories, etc. than I've spent in my entire life. She also loves to barbecue, every kind of sport, every kind of car ever invented. She's loud and has a big personality. If someone says something she doesn't like, she will tell them. She never backs down from anything, is so polite and kind. She has so many friends and is just really an amazing person. She's exactly like my husband, just smaller and more feminine. But I'm the complete opposite. I can't stand exercising. Sweat is my worst enemy. Half of my clothes are from the men's section. I hate makeup. I don't have the energy for skincare. And except for my rings, I don't have any jewelry. I prefer to read and I hate loud noises. Not good with people, and I have maybe 3 friends. My son is exactly like me. As you can probably understand from it, I'm closer to my son and my husband is closer to my daughter. My son and husband also spend a good amount of time together, not as much as my daughter and husband, but pretty close. On the other hand, my daughter and I don't spend that much time together. The only thing we have in common is our love for baking and our love for volunteering. A couple of days ago, while having a family dinner at my parents' house, my mom made a joke about how my son must be my favorite because I baby him so much. I laughed and said, of course, and kissed his cheek. And that was that. But after the dinner, my daughter got me alone and asked if her brother is really my favorite. I gently told her that I have more in common with her brother, so of course I like him more, but that it doesn't mean that I don't love her. She started crying and ran into her room, and she hasn't talked to me since, but I guess she also didn't tell anyone because no one tried to talk to me about it. I don't know if I'm in the wrong because all I said was the truth, but I feel bad for making her cry. AITA? Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's break this down. Who is your favorite, guys?
I don't have a favorite because I love both of my children and I like both of my children, sometimes for different reasons.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're two very unique individuals, but I don't have a favorite. I mean,
Okay, you know, the thing about children and parents. Okay, in our
Get the mic closer.
In our situation, I spent a lot of time with Chelsea growing up because I spent all the time in the car with that child because she went everywhere and did everything
Sports wise.
So I was the driver and we spent more time together. But I love both of you the same but differently. That's what people don't understand.
Oh, really?
Because of course you do.
Oh, you
Because
love differently though?
Well, first of all, I love both of you with all my heart.
Oh,
okay,
that's so sweet.
but of course it's different. You're two different people.
Yeah.
You know, so the relationship is different.
Yeah.
So there's not that. Now, the funny thing that she said was that she loved him more, and that's just wrong.
Liked.
What's that?
Liked him more.
Liked him more. Okay.
her favorite.
Yeah, that's wrong in so many ways because you can't really pick a favorite when it comes to a child necessarily because you love them and like them the same. You really do. And you can't help it because it's with your whole heart and soul. I mean, you would kill for your child. There's no doubt about that. You know.
Well, the thing that I find interesting about like favorites, because we did a poll on our Instagram and there were parents that were like, yeah, I do have favorites. Like if I'm being honest, I do. They weren't like saying who or anything like that. But I find it interesting with like this situation in particular is like, just because you have like more in common with them, why does that mean you would like them more? Like, for example, she said that she's exactly like her husband. Well, don't you love your husband?
Don't you like your husband?
Don't you like your husband? Yeah. So sometimes I feel like you even like other people better than you like yourself. So it's like, I don't know why you would necessarily, like your default would be that you like the child that's more like you.
Right. Absolutely. I don't know which one I would think about of my two that are more like me.
Yeah.
I mean, because you've got some traits like your dad, right? And I love your dad.
Right.
I like your dad. Like, you know, he's my best friend. We've been together for 40 years. And so...
yeah, she's okay.
Well, no, I think that's like, because especially as adults, like Chelsea and I always like analyze like ways that we're like each of you. And I think we both have a really good mix of both of you guys. Like I wouldn't really, I guess more outwardly, maybe you and I seem like we're more like mom and then you and Chelsea because of like the sports and stuff. Like if you saw us like out and about, but then once you get to know like the inner workings of our brains, like I overthink everything like my dad does.
Right. And you're a worrier.
And a worrier.
Oh, yeah, we're a little bit too much alike sometimes.
Well, Chelsea and I always joke that I got the good parts of mom and the bad parts of dad. And Chelsea got the good parts of dad, but the bad parts of mom.
There's no such thing as bad parts of me, first of all.
Okay.
So, yeah, I just think that's interesting, like why just because you don't have something in common means that like you automatically like them more.
Right. And she said that they've got baking and volunteering in common. Okay. So do more of that together.
It's just circumstances more than anything. Like I was saying earlier, Chelsea and I spent so much car time together just because of the simple fact that I took her everywhere in the world and Shannon didn't do that as much. So
well, and also you guys had the sports thing in common too. I feel like.
And that was all the sports stuff anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're both incredible athletes.
Just FYI, I drove them around quite a bit as well.
Oh, she needs the credit.
I'm just saying. Well, Bill worked
My dad's
a lot.
shaking his
Bill
head.
worked a lot. So who was driving them when you were working, hon?
I guess you did.
Okay, thank you very much.
If you do have a favorite, parents out there, don't admit it to your children, okay? That's like rule number one.
It can be crushing.
Because I'm not a parent, so I have no idea, but I feel like I can see liking one more over the other. I mean, especially if one of them like sucks. Like, what if you have a kid that like sucks?
I guess that could happen, but fortunately we're lucky and we didn't have that.
That's right. We're just angels.
Well, not angels, but they're two wonderful, beautiful, talented, intelligent adults.
But first of all, you have different relationships with your children as adults than you did when they were children.
Yeah.
True. I mean, totally different.
Yeah.
So it's not even, you can't even talk about it actually because they're not even the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's one thing I'm like, one of the main reasons I want to have kids is like to have adult kids and a family when you're older. Like when your parents are gone, like I want to be able to still have a family and like have a relationship with adult children.
Yes.
As fun as it'll be like raising them as hell-ish it will be too. I think it'll be worth it at the end when, I mean, hopefully you have a good relationship with them when they're old.
And also grandchildren.
And
that was a
raising the children
idea.
isn't necessarily hellish.
I know.
I
but
do
it
have to
seems
say,
like
I
it.
look back on my years that I had little ones, and they were truly one of my most favorite times. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Looking forward to
it's
it.
not always hellish.
Well, we got a comment here. Complex Machine 6189 says, why don't you engage with your daughter on the level of her interests? And the OP responds saying, why would I do that? She doesn't try and like the things I like. I don't see why I should. And then someone wrote, because you're the parent, it's on you to foster the relationship with your kids. And then the OP writes, I don't believe that it's the parent's responsibility to do everything.
Oh, boy. Yeah, she's definitely the asshole.
Yeah.
She's definitely YT.
Well, another commenter was saying that it seems like she's projecting some kind of subconscious jealousy or judgment towards the daughter.
I can see that.
Like with, how she is more charismatic and she's probably maybe even better looking just for the simple fact that she like put some effort into her looks or that she focuses on that. And seems like she has like a lot more friends. And when the OP is just not really, that doesn't come naturally to her.
Right.
Like I could see that.
Well, so here's a funny thing. Shannon is much taller than I am and long, beautiful legs. And I've often laughed, I joke that I say, well, if I couldn't look like that, I could make it, which is more important. So, right? So like I didn't look at you as being jealous. I looked at you as like, yeah, I created that.
Damn straight.
Damn. So
Well, I think
being proud
Yeah.
as opposed to being jealous. So
Yeah. Well, that's a healthier way to look at it.
Well, when you were reading the story, I'm saying, well, we have 2 trolls and 2 beauty queens. Or
What do you mean? Oh, the son?
I mean, she sounded like a frump.
Yeah.
Where the other one was spending all this time, trying to make herself look better.
Well, it's also interesting. The daughter too is like into sports and cars and barbecuing. Like, I don't know. She seems just so well-rounded. And the way that the OP is speaking about her daughter though, like does seem like she does have a lot of love for her. Like she was saying, like she never backs down from anything. She's polite and kind. She's an amazing person. Like, so I don't know that it's necessarily a jealousy thing because I think maybe there would be some like Snyder remarks when she's commenting about her daughter. But there's definitely some kind of like bias. Like, I don't know. I was thinking about this more when I was thinking about this situation of like, I do hope that my kids have some aspects of me. I mean, I know they will, but like, have you ever seen those kids where it's like all the kids look like one parent?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they all act like one parent.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know that I want a whole house of just Maxes and then me. I need a little bit of me in there too,
Right.
Like we had the same thing with the personalities, like our looks too is like super blended too of you guys. Like, I guess Chelsea does like more people think they look like you, but I think the older I'm getting, I look more like you.
Right. And I think the
Face
older
shape and stuff.
Chelsea gets, the more she
kind of looks like dad too.
You've morphed, right. There's more Lewis in there.
Yeah. Yeah, so what do we think the verdict is? I would have to go YTA.
Yeah, YTA.
You can't say that
say
to your
that.
daughter. I mean, if you have those thoughts, like everyone is bound to have some kind of negative thoughts in this world, but that's just something you just really shouldn't share.
And if you do have those thoughts, spend some time thinking about, okay, what do I like about them?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what would make them my favorite?
Right. And it's like, yeah, what we were saying before, like, okay, well,
that out.
Just because this one's more like me, why can I not enjoy the amazing things about her? And you need to make an effort.
Right. And don't ever say it out loud.
Yes. Keep it to yourself.
Right. Because that's, they say sticks and stones can break our bones, but names can never hurt us. Names hurt us worse than any physical injury.
Oh, absolutely.
They last forever. Those traumas.
That's a stupid statement anyway.
It is. It is.
I know. I think this was months ago, but Danny and I had like a whole argument on the pod about that one time where I was saying I was like, the trauma of
the words.
Yeah, it can be like your wrists will heal.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing if it's like you get paralyzed or something. Obviously, that's totally different, but. All right, so we are going YTA. Big old YTA.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening. Please rate, review, subscribe. Follow us on Patreon. Subscribe to us on Patreon. Patreon.com/AITA pod. We have over 190 episodes there. We have a vibrant Discord community that you can talk to us and all the other patrons. And you get a free bonus episode a week. Doesn't that sound great, guys?
It really does.
I do not let them on the bonus, though, because I tell some secrets that I don't want them to know.
I don't know.
And
you
also,
shouldn't keep secrets from your parents.
Yes, you should. You guys don't need to know everything. I'm 33 years old. I don't think you need to know. Okay. And then also subscribe to us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and listen to us on Spotify. AITA for being mad my boyfriend won't make noodles the way I like. Apparently this is a classic. I thought you guys might resonate with this with one of your daughters. I have always been a picky eater, especially when it comes to tomatoes. Ever since I was a kid, my dad would make my spaghetti different from the rest of the house. I like having an essence of the sauce flavor on the noodles, but not the overpowering flavor having noodles bathed in sauce creates. My dad would separate my spaghetti from the family's after putting the sauce on and then would rinse the sauce off with the sink and strainer. I love noodles like this as it is a nice subtle tomato vibe given to the mild spaghetti. My 20F boyfriend, 26M, has known about this since we first started dating. He always told me my food habits were cute. Ever since we moved in together, he insisted on taking charge of cooking and all cooking related tasks, dishes, grocery shopping, etc. Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
And he assigned me the role of cleaning the bulk of the apartment. Everything was perfect, and he always seemed to be making the noodles the way I like them. This was until last week when we last had spaghetti. We ate and everything was good, but afterwards he started teasing me, saying things like, "You really like your pasta with an essence of tomato, and how is your tomato essence, babe?" Always using finger quotes around the word essence. After a few comments, I felt something was off and asked him if he had done anything differently with tonight's noodles than he usually does, and he started laughing. When he finally stopped laughing, he told me the whole truth while smirking. He said, "I didn't do anything different than I usually do. I have never been making it the way you have requested." Apparently, the entire time we've been living together, he's just been skipping the pasta sauce on my noodles entirely. He claimed that if I didn't notice for this long, then it shouldn't matter that he is making dinner in a way that is easier for him. I disagree entirely. I think that the lying was a huge breach of my trust, and so was the refusal to make dinner how I wanted. I have admittedly been acting passive-aggressively to him since, but he thinks he did nothing wrong and that I'm overreacting and I need to let it go. AITA?
Well, if she didn't notice,
I think he did nothing wrong. And the reason I think that is because she didn't notice. And the fact that he even admitted to it should have been like, oh, wow. So I guess I like the noodles without anything on it. You know, and why would she be upset? You like the noodles.
Yeah, true.
You know, what's the difference?
Does this remind you of anyone in your life?
And look, we had a daughter.
We won't point any elbows here.
She doesn't, not that way anymore. But
Well, we still have the daughter.
that's true. Well, do we? Anyway, she was such a picky eater. Like she only ate white rice, plain, nothing on it, no butter, no nothing. Cucumbers, tomatoes. What else? Applesauce.
Plain pasta.
Plain pasta, nothing on it.
Cereal.
Yeah, cereal, no sugar, nothing, dry. No, we're talking
No dressing
wait a
on
second.
salad.
We're not even talking about sugared cereal. We're just talking about like rice, puffed rice. That's it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
And then
corn, puffed rice. Puffed corn, puffed rice.
Well, and then remember, whenever we would go out to eat at restaurants, if there wasn't chicken finger French fry available, then I would get plain noodles. Plain though.
Plain.
And every single time we would order plain noodles, they would come with butter on them. I'm like, is that plain? I don't think so. I want plain noodles. So you would have to like tell the server like, please, no butter, no sugar.
Oil,
not sugar, no salt, nothing. Plain. Put it in a boiling pot, strain it, and bring it to the table. So, and then I also was like very particular too, like if I remember this one time specifically when we were at McDonald's, and I always was a chicken McNugget girl. But for this one time I wanted to try a burger, and I remember being at the Play Place, and I would come over and I would take a bite, and I was like, oh, this burger's so good. It's so good. And then I discovered there was mustard on it. And I hated mustard. I mean, I hated everything except for ketchup. And then immediately I hated it. I loved it. The second I saw that, I couldn't eat it anymore. So it was always stuff like that. Remember, with mayonnaise on hoagies and stuff. And then I would only eat ham hoagies, but turkey sandwiches, and it couldn't be the other way around.
Right. And there couldn't be any cheese, and we couldn't even take the cheese off. Like once the cheese touched it,
that
was
if it was mayo, forget it.
Oh, mayo ruined the whole thing. Yeah, it was a challenge.
So, I mean, this OP is 20. Right. So I don't give as much grace for adults that act like this. But I can understand, being a picky eater at my heart, how I would have been like annoyed by this because of, needing the little tomato essence.
What you were thinking.
What I was thinking.
Well, when you described to me when OP said that her father would rinse everything off, I was like, okay, well, why would you waste the sauce? But
I feel like it's that thing.
It was that ritual.
Like when I was a kid, how I would.
It was that ritual.
Be that way. Or Papa, my mom's dad, would always keep the peppers out of the salad, which was so sweet because I could just
for the rest
pick
of
them
us.
out. But he would always kind of cater to my really annoying needs. Like they were so annoying.
They were.
Because Chelsea would eat everything, anything and everything. My sister. So I was definitely annoying as hell. Although as I've gotten older, I think I've said this, I've realized how I was a little bit more normal than you guys made me out to be, because I've dealt with kids as an adult, and kids are very picky eaters. At least I was a healthy eater.
Yeah, you were.
Some kids I deal with literally will only eat like pizza and bacon and SpaghettiOs and
Well,
Shannon would eat most vegetables. Like we said, cucumbers and tomatoes. I mean, she was the tomato queen.
Fruit and veggies.
But fruits and vegetables.
Carrots.
You would eat
it all.
Eat it all, yeah. Thanks.
Well, veggie wise.
And I'm really confused why she's upset with him when he actually proved that it didn't matter that he put spaghetti sauce on it and rinsed it off. So I proved that you never needed to have any spaghetti sauce on it.
Right.
And so proving that means I don't have to deal with making it, rinsing it, and then giving it to you. So
yeah, I mean, I almost feel like she's just actually embarrassed a little bit. And so now she's like turning it around on him, that it's like, you're a liar, it's a trust and stuff. And it's kind of like, oh God. I didn't even realize this whole time that the tomato essence was literally just plain pasta. We have a comment here that says, Beneficial Dark says, what's the odds that the dad's essence of tomato sauce was also, in fact, plain pasta?
Probably. And
Probably.
so for her, it burst the bubble of the special care that her father took.
Right.
Yeah. And that she thought her boyfriend was then giving to her. And it was probably more of, you're right, like feeling cared for, and that you're going this sort of like extra mile to make me feel special. Because I do remember like when Pop-Up would do that, like it would make me feel like he cared about me,
right,
you know?
Right. So
just like the little
that was like one of those little things that, Daddy was doing for her.
Mm-hmm.
And
which daddies do.
That's right.
Do.
This is a doo-doo episode, y'all.
Hell no, we're going on that road.
I think we already have.
We have another comment here. Rare Neighborhood says, dibs on Tomato Essence and the Vibes as my new band name.
There you go.
Well, I do actually remember with chips and salsa as a kid, even mild, because I was like very sensitive to anything that was spicy. I would take the chip and just dip it in the juice of the salsa, and that would be kind of like the tomato essence on it. I didn't want all of that chunky stuff, but I did like that little.
When I first started eating hotter foods, and so with chips and salsa, I would dip it in and then tap it on the side of the bowl to shake it off. So I did have essence of salsa.
That's
on my
right.
chips.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking when she first was saying the sauce, like the essence, because you know how tomato sauce can be staining.
Yeah.
So I thought like the noodles would be kind of that reddish color, like maybe he let them soak in there and then rinse it off. And then I did see how there could be like that oily kind of sauce still on it.
Right.
But if they're getting rinsed completely clean, where they literally are just plain looking, like that color, that pale cream color, that you still thought there was a tomato essence on it when it looked completely plain.
Now, Bill, tell them what you do with the Singapore noodles.
Oh, well, I don't know what's happened, but every time you order Singapore noodles, they put so much curry on it that literally when I order it now, I take it, I'm already boiling the water when I order it. When it comes to the house, I pour it all into the pot of boiling water. Then I strain it and put it back into the container, and it actually is perfect.
And it still has the curry essence on it.
That it has the essence of the curry, but it doesn't have this deep, dark yellow. Ugh, I can't.
And too spicy. And we even ask them to make it mild, go light on the curry, and. No,
I
but
hate
when we
this
first
dish.
started
You guys
eating
always get.
Singapore chow fun, it was delicious and we loved it. And over the years, no matter where we get it from, it's just gotten heavier and heavier and heavier and spicier and spicier and spicier. So that's what I was thinking, right? He was literally, and it really did have the essence of tomato when you first described it, but.
Well, I mean,
the essence
too.
of curry. I mean, curry is strong, where tomato can be strong, but understand that she may have never gotten the tomato.
Right, she may have never had the essence.
I
of
know.
tomato.
That's what I'm thinking.
I think the guy should be calling up the father saying, "Hey, how did you make this?"
Maybe they had that conversation, and the
maybe
father
the
clued him in and
dad-
said, I didn't really ever
was
do
never
anything. Just
doing
give her plain
anything."
pasta.
Which I get. I think plain pasta slaps.
Yeah, I like plain
It
pasta.
is so good. I'll still put a little bowl off to the side
Yuck.
with me for me.
no, I like it.
Before. or like the lasagna strips.
Oh yeah,
I like so good.
they're good.
Plain pasta's amazing.
Oh, Shannon's
crazy.
other favorite was eating the ramen packets
Dried. That's how I lost my first tooth. I was 4. I was eating a ramen packet dry without the
spice.
spices on it, because I've talked to other people later in life that have been like, oh yeah, and then you put the spice all over. I'm like, no, honey, plain.
No. So
And
because
then
they're a little
I-
messy, she had to sit on the front porch. She was not allowed to eat them in the house.
And that's
She
where I
had
lost my
to.
first tooth on that. And then years later, I was in college and I was over at somebody's house. I didn't know whose I was at. I was at some apartment, like drunk. And I started eating plain ramen noodles. As you all know, I like to steal food, especially when I'm drunk. And I I take them out and I'm eating them plain. And this girl comes up to me and she goes, what are you doing? I'm like, oh my God, you've never done this? Eating dried ramen noodles. It's the best thing. I used to do this all the time as a kid. And you don't take this season. I'm going into all this detail about it. And she goes, no, what the fuck are you doing eating my food? And it was her apartment. I was like, oh, that part of it.
Oh boy.
Eat my food.
Okay, so
here's the 32 cents. I'm sorry.
yeah, exactly. Okay, so back to this. So what do you think he should do? Like, do you think he should just continue not doing it? Or like, I do kind of understand like being a little bit upset. Like, why have you been telling me you've been doing this and just not do it at all? But it is kind of wasteful of sauce.
It is. It's very wasteful. And water.
And water too, you're right.
Water.
Yeah.
Having lived in the desert for all these years, we're
That's
very
true, that
mindful
little extra.
of water consumption and water bills.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know.
I mean, what do you guys
I
think?
don't think he's an asshole for doing it. In fact, I think he was trying to prove a point, and the point he proved was actually accurate.
I know, but he could have just continued going along with it.
Well, and you know something? He could have just never said anything.
That's what I mean. Like, why?
Just never rinsed them. Never did. Just did what he did. You know, I think he found the whole thing pretty funny, which is probably why she was pissed.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
Well, he's kind of making fun of her.
Yeah, he is, but you know.
Isn't that half of relationships? Making fun of each other?
True.
We make fun of each other all the time.
Truly. Yeah, I don't know.
It's true though.
I guess maybe no assholes here.
Yeah,
She's
I would
allowed
say-
to feel upset,
Yeah,
and
she
he's
is.
allowed to like be like, okay, can we enough of these charades? Like, you're 20,
Right.
Can we stop doing it now? Like, maybe just keep it with your dad.
Yeah,
you and your dad thing.
Yeah, but I mean, of course, you say she's 20.
We don't know what dad does. Dad might do the same.
Again, this is one of those situations where you have that person that's on that borderline between not really being an adult yet and the person that is an adult. Because he was like, what,
He's
5?
26
And he's
and she's
26,
20.
yeah. Yeah. Which at that age, that is quite a big difference. I remember I was like kind of seeing this guy when I was like, maybe I was like even 21 or 22 and he was 26. And it really did seem so much older.
Yeah. Yeah, there is that. Those are those funny years, that 18 to 20, 21, 22, whatever. Just
because once you get
you're
to
not,
like,
I don't give a shit what the law says. You're not an adult. You're really not.
Not until that frontal lobe grows in at 25.
No, that's what I think I said on an episode recently. Like, I honestly think they should start making the adult age 25.
Why not?
Yeah.
And that's when people should start going to college.
Yeah, probably.
Honestly, it's a waste of money otherwise, unless you like really have your head screwed on
Well,
straight.
and also you then get out and you work in, more service-oriented jobs, and you learn to be a better client and customer.
Yes, true. Everyone in the world should have to work in retail and in a restaurant. Because when you don't, you just do not get.
No.
You do not understand. You don't have the patience for other people.
Right. I worked retail for years and restaurants both. And when I'm in stores, I'm often folding and straightening.
Yeah, same.
And if I unfold something and I can't get it back the right way, I'm like, I really struggle with it.
failing.
I pick the things off of the floor. Put them back on hangers.
When we're in restaurants,
Yeah, the tables in the restaurants.
and bathrooms, we're always cleaning up the
In public bathrooms.
toilet paper on the floor and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess what are we saying? No assholes here.
No assholes here.
No assholes here. I'd say.
Yeah.
But maybe have a talk and try and come to some kind of a compromise.
Well,
or
I
something.
know a good thing that they could do would be to make it both ways
Oh, and do a blind taste test
and see if it makes a difference.
yeah, they should because maybe
there is
there
something.
is a little something. I mean, I guess it's not enough that she even noticed he wasn't doing it, but if it is, yes, that's a great solution. Do it, and then if she can tell, then continue to do it. If she can't, like, shake on it and be like, if you can tell, I'll do it. If you can't, I'm not going to do it anymore. Yeah. I think we're going no assholes here. AITA for asking my son and daughter-in-law for a copy of the key to the new house they bought. 2 weeks ago, my son Ethan, 27M, and his wife Jess, 30M, bought a small one-story house in the town we live in. After settling down, they invited us for a small party for the occasion. We sat for dinner and talked about the house a bit. My husband, Jess, and I continued conversing after Ethan excused himself to take an important call. Jess showed me the original key to the house and I asked if she made copies yet, and she said no. I said she should and also give one copy to me as well. She looked at me funny and asked why she would do that. I explained that it is necessary so that it could be used in emergencies. She rudely said, I don't know what kind of emergency that would require you having a key to our house. Sure won't be a fire incident. She obviously didn't seem to have any idea that a fire incident wasn't what I meant, and I got offended by her sarcasm. I pointed out that it's not just her decision because this is my son's house as well. She smiled at me, trying to be polite, and stated that only the ones contributing towards the house get a copy, and that I really don't need one anyway. She also reassured me that my son will answer the same for me, basically saying, don't bother bringing this up to Ethan. He'll tell you the same thing. Well, when Ethan returned, I did. And she spoke on his behalf the entire argument, repeating what she said over and over. Things escalated to her calling me pushy and me telling her she was being unnecessarily rude and disrespectful. My husband and I left in a rush, and I felt horrible. My husband went on and on about how paranoid and controlling I was to basically be demanding a copy of the key to the new house. I stated that I was just trying to be helpful and taking extra precautions since anything could happen. But he insisted I overstepped and ruined their joy for their new house as well as the dinner. I genuinely do not think what I said was out of line, and I'm not sure why Jess reacted so intensely. I think my request was innocent. AITA?
Something that you just said really jumped out at me there in that whole situation was what the husband said to her on the way home about how she was being, so there's history. There's history of this, her being manipulative and
controlling, paranoid. Yeah. Let's break this down a little bit. So they have a small party. So it's not just the four of them there.
Right.
It's clearly there's other people around too. She doesn't mention other people, but they sat for dinner. I'm assuming there's other people around. So this kind of seems like an inappropriate conversation to be an argument to be having in front of other people. I do understand because I think you guys have keys to our apartment. Or you did at one point. I guess maybe you lost them.
They're around somewhere.
We think they're in Wildwood.
They're in New Jersey and we're in California. But like our next door neighbors have our keys. We have theirs. They're our friends. And it's very convenient because, I mean, we've locked ourselves out. Like we've asked them to bring in packages for us. There's just been times where we've needed to have keys. And actually one time, my neighbor, she locked herself out when this was before we had exchanged keys with each other. And she left her kettle on the stove, and we had to call the fire department, and they had to climb up the balcony, and the pot was like, you know, it was no fire, but there was like smoke and stuff, and so she was very scared. So I think like after that we were like, okay, let's exchange keys. So I definitely can see how there are emergencies. And I personally am more comfortable when someone I trust has my keys because then I know I'm not in a pickle. Even just locking yourself out and leaving your car keys in here or something, you have to go somewhere. Like it's helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's helpful when you've got a neighbor because then it's convenient.
Yeah, it's right there.
Right. If you've got somebody that's 10 minutes away, that doesn't help in those situations.
Right. Yeah, those particular ones. I mean, 10, you can still get there. But I do think like the way she kind of demanded it was a little
like if the homeowner had said, I'll get some copies made and, you know, I'll make sure to give you one just in case.
Yeah.
Then fine.
Yeah. Like, I don't, like, you guys definitely didn't demand a key to our apartment.
No,
I think
and
I got
you gave it.
you.
Well, you gave it to us because you weren't going to be here, and we were
staying
arriving.
here. Right. And it was convenient that way. And it's just nice to have like extra set of keys around anyway.
Yeah.
And like, why wouldn't if Max's parents wanted keys, like I wouldn't think twice. It's like, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, they don't live close, but I also know that, well, his mom has a house here, but I'm also aware that they and you guys wouldn't just be coming over unannounced. And I think maybe that's where the daughter-in-law is thinking that she will just use the key, kind of like on Everybody Loves Raymond. Like, you know how they're just, her in-laws are just constantly coming over. That's different. If you want the key to just be like invading their space, then you know to not give your keys to people. And it sounds like that's what's going on here.
I think that the mother, the second she asked for the keys and she was against the keys, she should have dropped the subject and then possibly taken up with her son on the side somewhere and said, you know, would you like to give me keys? No, but I would never demand the keys. And she was being very pushy.
Yes.
She even described the fact that she was being pushy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I don't know. I think she was at this point in the wrong. I mean, obviously the daughter-in-law was uncomfortable with the whole situation, and I would have just said, okay.
Exactly. Like, it's okay to offer it. And I think her intentions hopefully were pure of like, yeah, in case you need an emergency contact, basically. But the over demanding, I do think it was kind of, I don't really understand what the daughter-in-law was saying, where she's like, I don't know what kind of emergency you think. It sure won't be a fire incident. What does that mean?
Well, because they live 10 minutes away.
Oh, is that what they said?
Yeah.
Where does it say they live 10 minutes away?
In the same town.
Oh, maybe they didn't say. Where maybe I just
don't think
see the brain works in funny ways.
Well, I know they lived
I
in the
see
same
that
town,
anywhere.
but it didn't sound like they were next door.
Yeah, in the town we live in.
Yeah, the town we live in. So,
Sorry, I don't know where I got the 10 minutes from.
Yeah, you made it up earlier, and then it was the truth, I guess, for you. But yeah, I don't understand the fire incident thing at all.
Yeah.
Well, I have to believe that the fire incidents was what we were just talking about, where they weren't right next door. Right. So her having keys, what was the point? The people that have to have keys, like you said, was your next door neighbor.
Yeah.
That's who have to have
Or to have
keys.
like a lockbox outside or something.
Well, I mean, okay, I only knew my one neighbor in our neighborhood that we just sold our house in. And we had a big package come to our house, and we needed to do something because it was raining, starting to rain. So I just texted him, and I have a door code. I didn't have a key.
Yeah.
And I just gave him the code, and he put it in the house.
Yeah.
You know, and it was like, he was pretty much a stranger still.
Yeah.
It was like, you know, hey, look, it was an emergency.
Well, how awkward would that be to steal from you, and then you have to live next door to the person?
Yeah, that's true. Well, so that's actually a really good thing in this situation is you put the door, you know, the lock that has the code on it. Now you can program it so that typically you can put in more codes than just one. Like you have a master code. And then you can put in, so you can let in like a service worker. Oh. And you can give a code.
And then you can change it at other times.
Yes. And you can give a code. A lot of them, you can do them right on your phone. And you can.
And then have it expire.
And it's got an expiration.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
What would that be helpful in this scenario?
For the couple to have that.
Oh, yeah, to put that in instead.
Right.
Or something. And then just make one for their mom every now and then?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like, oh, you need it? Okay, here, I'll give you a code.
I guess in that scenario, you wouldn't need people to have the keys because you don't need keys.
Right.
Unless the batteries go dead, which does happen, by the way.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. So, I mean, you do have to have a backup key.
Oh, okay.
Or you just have to be on top of changing your batteries.
Well, we have a comment here. Key Geen says, YTA, you don't get to demand a key to someone else's house, and trying to override a wife's wishes in her own home by acting as if you have rights in your son's home is going to put you on a fast track to never being invited. Her reacting as intensely as you described suggests that you have a problem with overstepping generally. Take a hard look at your own behavior, especially like this is kind of what you were saying, like especially with the husband being like, honey, you did it again, you know, that kind of talk in the car that they probably have to have.
And she even put that in her story too. So
And the party was for the house buying, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was like
they
a
had a small
housewarming.
party for the occasion. And it's like, yeah, you did kind of like ruin the whole thing.
Right.
I also do think if I was some people have more of a assertive personality than I do. But like if I was the daughter-in-law, I would just kind of be like, okay, Ethan, honey, you deal with this.
Oh, yeah.
But she seems to be, maybe Ethan gets stepped on by his mom a lot. So maybe she does have to step in and be like, no, we don't want you having the key because you're going to be over here all the time.
Right.
You know, I mean, she didn't say that, but I kind of feel like that's what she was getting at.
Yeah. Yeah, particularly if she just is a drop buyer.
Yeah. I don't exactly like the way that the daughter-in-law behaved, but I do think that there is a history here of her acting this way. And so I think I'm going to go YTA on the mom.
I think so.
What do you
YTA.
think, Dad?
Yeah, you have to, I think. So
Yeah. YTA. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed having my parents and maybe you got a little glimpse into why I am the way I am.
or maybe not.
All right.
Yeah. So wait, used to be a school teacher and, I'd have my students and then there would be back to school night and I would meet the parents and it'd be like, oh, okay.
Now
I get it.
Now I got it.
It makes sense. They come by it honestly.
So maybe you're all
It's not their
going,
fault.
Oh, now I got it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Bye.
Bye.